Hey, everyone, welcome back. So, oh my god, it's already quite some time since the last time I'm uploading any videos in my self development channel, and I'm just so happy that I can upload again. And I don't know why, because I have so many things going on in my life in a good way, thankfully, like doing on my thesis, finish my student exchange in Korea, and yeah, a lot of productive things. Anyhow, in this channel, I want to talk about happiness again. Happiness topic has been a very exciting and deep like subject to talk about because it's full of mystery, right? Like we heard almost everyone wants to be happy, but oftentimes the definition is not really. Sometimes the definition of happiness can be toxic because like it depends on who you're listening to, because some people will say that if you want to be happy you need to reach this. And for me, what dangerous from that kind of advice is that because people often give it from their perspective, from what they believe, and it's not always like aligned with our life purpose, with our value. And perhaps the things that they telling us to do is already expired, in a sense of that it's no longer works to follow that kind of advice. And but again, it's not always like that. Like the case is really diverse, right? And especially from the old people, sometimes their advice is really relatable and true, but in some case it's also already different. For example, like in Indonesia, a lot of like parents like want their kids to be a, like, we call it PNS. It's like an official government worker. And you know what, some of their children don't really interest with that path, but I have a lot of my friends that their parents keep encouraging them to follow that path because they believe that it was the most stable, and yeah, eventually it will bring you happiness, right, if you got it. But yeah, that's just like one example that happened in Indonesian case. And disclaimer that I'm not saying that any advice like that is somehow bad, but the concern is that because sometimes there are people that have their own dreams, like they are forced to follow this kind of path that their parents force them to do so. And for me, that's not always a good thing, isn't it? So yeah, so in this point I want to emphasize that happiness is, again, the definition is depends on, I think, who you ask. And we need to be careful with that because subconsciously it can make us believe that some form of like achievement, life situations or life achievement means happiness. Meanwhile, in real life it's not always like that. And like in my case, I think this, like, currently last 1 year, like from since the last year, I always ask myself like what you truly want in this life. And I read a lot of like happiness books that discuss about the concept of happiness. And from what I already read this far, I can conclude that actually happiness is far way more simpler than what I thought. I thought like I need to work damn hard and always to rush, to be always the best, to be always the most kind of things you can mention, whatever. But for me, I just realized that that kind of competitions can be toxic for our mental health, because you know, if we talk about a race, like in achievement, to be better at something, to be the best, it's, disclaimer again, it's was a good thing because it can push us like more further, but in some ways it can be toxic. Like if we see someone doing better than us and we feel that we're not competent enough, that can be a toxic things, because I mean that's a natural things, right? For you to not, I mean like everyone have their own like starting point, and if you compare yourself with someone's that already start that thing since a long time ago, that's unfair both for you and for that person. And it's okay like to be like in some level or some kind of competence that you think is not yet competence. That's okay, that's fine, but what important is that you keep like growing within a healthy stress level, and not comparing yourself with other, and only compare yourself with your past self, because this is the mindset that I always try to myself, that okay, no, you just, and sometimes we can't lie when we see some achievement, or we see someone's like gets more ahead of us, like they growing more, they get more opportunities, it feels like we left behind, right? But that's not always the case, because sometimes based on my experience, I compare myself to my friends that graduated really quickly, and but I have a principle that whenever I have a thought, I need to like catch it, like okay, this is a thought, a random thought, and then I will like make some dedicated times to process that thought. Oftentimes it's before sleep, because I apply the principle that I should not open my phone 1 hour before I sleep. So I use that hour to reflect on, okay, is this encouragement, like discouragement, sorry, this is this a really more important things, or this is just an illusion of happiness that actually it hurt my happiness, but somehow in real life it actually doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter in the sense of that, okay, I'm comparing myself with someone that maybe they just rushing or work more hard on their, let's say in this case, if you want to graduate quickly in my faculty or university in Indonesia, you need to do your thesis most of the times, I think. So maybe this person that I thought I was left behind compared to them, maybe they work harder on their thesis, and I mean like it's fair enough, right? Because at the same time, I have another things to do. I work part-time, I work on my music, and I work on my small business. So that explain why somehow I'm not yet graduating that fast. I mean like that's one of the example, right? So sometimes we overlook our like things that we did in our life, and we just somehow comparing ourselves to another person without really like think critically, because it's really important. If you like try to dive deep into that random thoughts, you will realize that there are so much to do like with this thought. I mean, because sometimes our brain just react spontaneously, oh, she already graduated, I'm not yet graduating, and that's can be a thought that directly gives you a conclusion that you're left behind. Meanwhile, in fact, you did a lot of job in real life, that's just in another form, and still you're doing great on your study, right? So what I want to emphasize in this point is that sometimes our happiness can be hurt by things that we thought like we, for example, like just what we discussed before, we thought that we are left behind because someone did better than us. Meanwhile, it's not. And there are tons of reasonable things on why we not yet reaching this point, because there are another reasons, and that reasons is a good thing because it's aligned with, for me example, I'm doing my music business that's aligned with my like life purpose. And of course it takes time, and it will of course consume some portions of my thesis working time. So it's pretty reasonable, right? For, okay, let's say we still consider ourselves late, it's still like healthy to like consider ourselves like we late in healthy ways. We did it because of a reason, right? So I hope you get what I mean. And please claim your daily happiness and not let small things destroy that happiness. Because yeah, day by day I realized that happiness is really simple. It's already there, waiting for me to claim it daily. And I hope everyone who watched this video also can be able to claim your daily happiness. So thank you so much everyone for watching. I wish you have a very, very bright and great day. So adios.